Hi everyone, this is a response to Craig's video on civil media, and in short, I love it. This is just such a good idea. It's a brilliant idea. I mean, we've been stuck in this social media world and wondering why shouting into the void on Twitter or projecting your opinions onto everyone on Facebook doesn't work for so many of us, and why it's leading to such I think, a problematic state in culture. But I think that Craig may have fixed it and solved it here, and it's this idea of a civil society made into media. And while I'm glowing, it's in review of his idea. We needed, as Craig did, step back and get into the significance of civil society. I've got one of the great conservative thinkers is a guy called, he's now Sir Scruton, I think, Sir Roger Scruton, and he wrote a book, something like How to Be a Conservative, and chapter 10, The Truth in Conservatism, where he goes into what conservatism is. I'm going to read from his book right now. It says, "Conservatism is not in the business of correcting human nature or shaping it according to some conception or the ideal rational chooser. Conception of the ideal rational chooser. It attempts to understand how societies work and how to make the space required for them to work successfully." And that's a big part of what my philosophies are. I really hate it when even if it's a good idea, if someone decides for me that I must share their good idea and my life and space must be invaded with this notion that they're excited about, therefore I must be excited about. I read on and it talks about free association. Free association is necessary to us, not only because no man is an island, but because intrinsic values emerge from social cooperation. They are not imposed by some outside authority or instilled through fear. They grow from below through relations of love, respect, and accountability. And I really like that about conservatism. I think that explains why people tend to be liberal when you're young and conservative when you're old. When you're young, you have a good idea. Kind of like that song Father and Son by Cat Stevens. You have a good idea and you think, well, I better rush out and tell everyone about it and yell in their faces and break in and find them where they are and put to them that they must believe what I believe, because what I believe is such a good idea. And you become frustrated and annoyed when people don't share your belief, or when they don't understand that you're trying to save the world. Why are you being so difficult about this? But as you grow up, you understand that yes, you had a good idea, and nothing about conservatism or liberalism changes what you have as a good idea. It's how you're going about communicating your idea to absolutely everyone. You're protesting against them and having slogans and shouting at them, which Twitter, Facebook, because it's a liberal idea of forcing your idea upon another person. But you realize that if you want a person to share your idea, befriend them. Learn about them, care about them, have a small circle of friends and help out and meet their wife or husband, or let your kids play with their kids, and take your time, and through relations of love, respect, and accountability, you might eventually convey your idea. You'll never impose it by some outside authority, or you may actually get the appearance of opposing it or instilling it through fear. But these intrinsic values, the good idea, do emerge through social cooperation. And to have social cooperation, we need to have a civil society, as Craig says, to act without being acted upon. So the liberals, and all of the world, but the liberals have the Facebook and Twitter, in which you have your good idea and you project out onto someone. But maybe conservatives, or the right wing of politics, needs to have this civil media where you take your time, slow down, relax, form a community, a cricket club, a footy club, a book reading club, a beer drinking, beef eating club, whatever you guys might belong to. And within that community, once you are accountable to each other and find love and respect for each other, that you might then build bottom up our beliefs and our opinions. And rather than project upon people your good idea, make known to the rest of the world that your group, through friendship, has had a good idea, and others, if they choose, can share in it. And when they see that your group is a good and healthy group that isn't evil, because you can all bloody tolerate each other, and then maybe that you post some photos or some posts, or you have some events, and come to understand that these people are trustworthy and are accountable, and then you might, after befriending them, or after attempting to befriend them, they might let you learn their good idea rather than blast it at you with a megaphone, in the way that the liberals tend to do now on Twitter and on Facebook and other sources as well. I think it's a really great idea. As for developing it, that's your job, mate. I'll help you out if you want, but I'm no web developer either, but the concept is brilliant, and civil media really could be the next big thing, and the big thing that the right's looking for. So that's the crux of what I wanted to say. Just to go on a little bit more, I've tried, just for a second, the right-wing version of social media, and it's terrible, like Gab AI and all that sort of stuff. Wow, and I've not been on there, but I'm led to believe 4chan and some of those things can get pretty gross really quickly. The right-wing version of social media isn't working. Twitter and Facebook, as much as I bag them, they're still pretty good. But I think that I have been looking for civil media, and I think it's a really great idea. And I'm sure it won't be me, and I'm sure it won't be Craig that develops it, but when someone eventually does, I think that it may be the place where finally the right gets off Twitter and stops being that right-wing nut job sort of thing that we're doing that's annoying everyone on the left and driving them off and turning it into a dumpster fire. And maybe Twitter and Facebook can become the sanctuary of the left, and they can have their own ideas and opinions there and project upon people who want to be projected upon, and the right can go off and have its own thing and take the time to get to know each other and build relationships and have friendships and find our values through social interaction. And then if a person outside of our group wants to come and find a bad idea, they can come along and act nice and be polite and introduce themselves, and eventually over a long period of time come to learn our great idea, which is more of how the right operates and how conservatives operate. Anyway, short video, there it is. Craig, brilliant idea. He's a genius. For those who don't know, Craig's a really, really clever guy, and I think he's had one of his great ideas. Brilliant. Thanks, Matt.